Hey doing, welcome back. Today we're going to have a look at writing bass lines. I'm going to be using a song example that I did with my last original band called Waking Eden. That's these guys. If you like the song, you can find it on iTunes. It's called She Believes. The band was Waking Eden. I will put a link in the description box for the iTunes and also for my SoundCloud account, which you can have a listen to it there as well if you want to have a play along if you like it. The reason I'm using this song is it's got a lot of the elements that I use to write bass lines, or come up with bass lines from, as a fair bit of octave work. I'm a big fan of octaves, as you'll probably hear if you go and investigate any of my playing. I like the octaves to change up how a song feels, and also just to give you a bit of variety if you're sort of cruising along on the same key and not many changes. You can change completely how it sounds just by changing the octave on the note that you're playing, so it's quite a useful tool that I use. I'm also a big fan of having the bass bringing little counter melodies and nice little intricate bits in amongst the melodies that are going on, so I feel I've done a little bit of that in this song too, so we'll check it out. You'll hear, again, talking of octaves, the intro of this song wasn't actually supposed to be exactly as it is. We were just messing around sound checking in the studio, and I ended up liking what I did at the start. When we hit the studio for this song, I hadn't cemented the bass part I was going to play, so a lot of what we came up with was actually done on the spot in the studio, which is often where your magic happens if you're open to trying out new things. So check it out. That's one octave down and then another. A little melody.
She comes around every night, that's alright. She speaks to me in my dream.
So you see there that little melody up to octave D. Slides down. Nice little counter melody under the vocals. Gives you a nice entry into the song without the big sort of punch in the head, so to speak. It's a bit gentle and melodic. It's nice. Then the song starts to pick up, and we change into the normal verse pattern. You'll notice that's nice and flowy, and I drop in a nice little skip, I guess, for lack of a better word, in there, just to, again, to change things up a little bit, to help build a little bit. We'll play it so you can hear it.
She don't let my brain. She speaks to me in my dream.
So that's the verse.
She don't play like I play. She don't run like I run. She don't hurt like I hurt. Well, I'm not having fun.
Nice and flowy.
She can't hold back.
Octave.
I mean, she believes in all she believes in God.
Same line, but down the octave. So in that chorus, so you may have noticed the very start of the chorus, I'm leave a bit of a pause as I start playing the notes. Again, just for the building. And then the use of the octaves comes in. And same note, just bring down the octave, and it just completely changes how the song sounds. And you notice when I get down to the octave, then I'm driving straight away as well. Then it goes into the turnaround, which is similar to the intro, which I then bring a little bit of counter melody, slightly different from the first time round. Melody. So instead of the normal just walking down as the rest of the band's doing, just build a little bit of sonic tension, I guess, in there, just because it's again not something that was planned in. My mind doesn't tend to go for chordal structures. I just tend to go for what my ear wants to hear, what I'm hearing in my head. So for there I could hear that bit of the bass sort of pulling against what the guitars are doing, just to give it a bit more, again, just to change things up a little bit, and that's what I felt the song needed at the time. Pick it up, same notes, then we got octave, same notes, so in there I'm, again, as I said before, using the octaves to build that excitement or anticipation, something's happening, something's changing. So I could keep playing the same thing in the chorus leading up to the pre, but I chose to. And you're probably thinking, why am I playing all the way up there? That was the going up to the C. I can play the C here. But as you can hear, it's with this guitar in particular, the bottom three strings sound massive, and the D and G string don't quite have as much body as the lower strings. So if I'm trying to build tension or excitement or something that's, really build, I like the tone better of these strings for that sort of thing. It's a lot thinner down at the bottom of the neck, so I tend to do it up there, which is why. But probably not as evident on the using the camera and the phone here, the microphone in the camera, but when you hear it in the recording, it's a lot fatter and nicer up that end of the neck, so that's why you'll see me heading up that way instead of down here. So it's about the tone as well as the notes that I'm playing. So and again the octave. And that's what I'm talking about there for do that nice little lead-in fill to the drummer stop, and it just seems to give it a little bit more emphasis that I stop and he stops. It just gives it a bit more, I feel it gives it a bit more power. Again, when you hear the song in context, I think it works quite well.
She won't come when I come. She don't burn like I burn. And when I'm done, leave you stunned. She can't fall down. Oh, I mean, she
Back into the chorus. Pumping a bit more because it's the second chorus. Octave. Octave. Building that excitement. Heading to the bridge. And here I follow the drums for the accent. That's your octave. Again. There it is, Waking Eden, check them out. Anyhow, I hope that gives you an idea or some ideas. Oops. Pays to press the stop button. Hope that gives you some ideas on coming up with your own bass lines. So I'm a big fan of putting in counter melodies, and actually this song that just started, that's the next song on the EP. Again, the nice little bass melody underneath the guitar melody in the intro. What's that? You want me to play it? Okay, check it out. Let's start from the start. Oops. So of course I could have just set on the G and C. But where's the fun in that? We want to give the people the value for their money when they're buying our songs. So gives it a nice bit of, again, not something that I sat down and worked out, oh, I have to work in with this scale. We played it in the rehearsal room and that's what came to me, so that's what I played. If it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, come up with something else. Don't be afraid to try things, even in the studio. As I said, a lot of the magic happens on the spur of the moment. I tend to, it's good to do your homework before you get into the studio, but I've found a lot of times I get into the studio and I'll change something on the spur of the moment. Sometimes I don't even know I do it. It's almost going to autopilot, and then you listen back to the recording and I literally go, I do not remember playing that fill. Or, so don't be afraid to experiment and have fun with it. If it doesn't work, you can just record it again. And yeah, just find your... The most important thing, I guess, writing, especially as a bass player, is finding that groove. You want to find the groove that suits the song, lock it in, keep it nice, and then add to that as you go. There's nothing nicer than some nice little intricate melodies or some tasty little licks going underneath the rest of the song that's not, you don't want to try and cram as many notes as you can into a passage or something like that, but it is cool to have some tasty little licks in there that contribute to the song. Though it's got to be about the song first, not about how cool you can play your instrument. As cool as you may be, I certainly enjoy listening to cool playing, but I like it in the context of tasteful cool playing. So it all comes down to being tasteful. So hope that helps. Come back soon and we'll check out some more stuff. Anyhow, time for me to keep jamming.